and a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good people of Tube. Hope today, hope you are feeling grand and all is well in your world. Hello there, everybody. Today's vid, everybody, is one that was it's kind of been requested for a while. Actually, a load of people have asked me to do it, and finally getting there today. So today's vid, everybody, is about kind of what theory do I know. I'm basically I'm going to tell you everything I know, and basically, like, you know, from a perspective of, like, you know, the theoretical side of music, if you will. So I'm going to basically just tell you what I do. Well, not what I do. I don't know what I do because I don't think about it anymore. It's not one of those things that I kind of actively think about anymore. So it's really difficult for me to analyse me, if that makes any sense, because I don't get it. Because I don't think about it. I haven't thought about it for years, and it's not a habit I want to get into, and it's not something I want to do, if that makes any sense. I don't want to analyze what I do. I just want to do it, and that's what I do. So, but I will tell you all the theory I know. And basically, hopefully from that you can kind of go away from there, and kind of like you can, you know, might be able to kind of pick something apart. I don't know. Anyway, so first things first, let me talk about kind of like my divings into theory and the reason I basically am where I am. So when I first started getting into theory of guitar, it wasn't for about 3 years. I really started to get into the theory aspect of it quite, not heavily, but I really started to kind of like I was curious about it, and it was mainly because I wanted to learn more Jimi Hendrix and John Vashanti stuff. I wanted to understand how they play, and Slash as well for that matter. I wanted to understand how they could come up with stuff. I had seen Slash doing a guitar solo on a Use Your Illusions DVD I've got. And obviously John was always changing his solos, like, you know, I had the Off the Map DVD, and I think Slane Castle had come out by that time, and I was like, these solos are amazing. How are they doing this? And then obviously Jimi Hendrix, Woodstock, and this kind of thing. I was like, how are they doing that? I want to do that. I want to be able to do what they do. I want to be able to kind of just get lost and just make stuff up. And funny enough, as soon as that kind of came along, learning solos note for note became extremely boring. And I do it. Certain guitar solos, I think you have to learn note for note, but most guitar solos from songs I like to play are mainly improvised, so I get to kind of like, you know, free reign, so to say. Because I don't really like learning note for note guitar solos. It's like, you know, especially when I know that's an improvised solo in the first place, it feels weird, you know what I mean? It's like, I learned a John Vashanti Scar Tissue solo. It was the Reading Festival. And John's doing all these kind of those kind of things. That was wrong, but you know what I mean. He's doing those kind of things, and you can hear John hesitating. And he does it. Funny enough, he does it in the Scar Tissue final solo at Slane Castle as well. There's this slight hesitation where he's kind of like feeling where to go next. And that to me is kind of something I don't want to do, because that's what John did in that period of time. I'd rather not do that. You know, if that makes any sense, I'd rather kind of, you know, do my own hesitation at my own time, so to say, if that makes any sense. But, so I started diving into theory about 3 years, you know, properly, about 3 years into playing guitar. I knew how to play certain solos. I knew how to play, like, you know, Little Wing, Voodoo Child, you know, Scar Tissue, and all this kind of stuff. I knew how to do it. Didn't understand it, but I knew how to do it. And I just wanted to kind of understand scales and also certain kind of chord, you know, what chords are in here and there, so I could start making my own solos and improvising my own solos and just coming up with my own things, really. So it was about 2004-ish, give or take. You know, it could have been end of 2003. I started getting into this theory side. And I just started out with trying to incorporate what I knew into shapes I knew into making stuff up. So, so something like that, which is very John Frusciante Scar Tissue-esque kind of thing. I'm like, right, okay, so I know those notes work in the key, you know, in Scar Tissue key, which D minor, so I knew that. But I didn't know what the scale was. No one around me in my world at that period of time knew what a pentatonic scale was. And, you know, we didn't have, you know, there wasn't internet and there wasn't any of that. We didn't have that. And no one I knew kind of understood pentatonics. I think my uncle knew what they were, and my dad knows what they are, but kind of understanding it from like, you know, a heavy perspective, it didn't, you know, it wasn't really there. You know, and because I'm dyslexic, reading books was well off the thing, so I just decided to just kind of go by kind of just figure it out, so to say. So so that's how I started getting into theory, and then I started to learn shapes on guitar, and I can't remember who it was. Somebody taught me the pentatonic scale. I can't remember who it was who taught me that, but I learnt that scale, and that's all I knew. And I was like, okay, so I know that, and then basically just like messed around with that for a while. And it wasn't until one night I was sat in the room that's behind this door. I was sat in there on the floor with this guitar, and I did this thing where I was like, I want to know every note on every string in the key of E, which always seemed like a logical place for me to be and to start. I want to know every note on every string that works. So what I did is I did this for hours and hours and hours. I'd go, no, nah, not bad, but not really. Ah, there it is. So open and then third fret. Okay. Nope. Ah, there we go. There's another one. Nope. Ah, there we go. And I did that, and I did that on every string until I could kind of like, you know, do. Oh. So I could run up and down each string, like, you know, without kind of. You know, and develop these own and develop them, and then what I could do then is develop shapes. So that kind of thing, I started to kind of like figure that out, and I didn't know I was using the 5 positions on the pentatonic scale at this point in time. I just kind of knew that sounded good, and I could then incorporate that into my own guitar solos, which I did in my first proper band called Gimbal. When I did guitar solos in that band, they were always improvised, and they were mainly minor pentatonic. You know, they were all, you know, all that kind of thing, and it was super fast. But there was certain solos where I would do, you know, big runs like that, and also kind of going up and down the neck and stuff like that. But I didn't really understand it, but that was fine because I was happy with it. You know what I mean? And but at this point in time, I didn't know how to feel what I was doing. I was just doing it. I was working on technique, and I was trying to understand the guitar neck as a thing. So that was what that was. And then when I was at college, you know, when I went to Grimsby College, I was doing all that. And then I went down to London, the Institute of Contemporary Music down in London. And that was when it got told to me that, you know, you're playing 5 position pentatonic scale, and this I knew, and I started to understand more. So that's what was going on there. And then during my time in London, as I was kind of like developing these ideas for kind of like, you know, the neck and stuff, because after 2003, 2004, I understood the neck in lots of keys. You know what I mean? I knew it in E, A, F, G, you know. I could go up and down the neck and solo in any key happily, actually, to be honest with you, by that time. It didn't take me long to get a grasp on it because I found my own way that made sense to me, which definitely helped me more so than learning maybe somebody else's idea or somebody else's technique, if that makes any sense. Like, I know I've learned my own way of reading the neck, you know what I mean? And it started with that kind of going on individual strings and then making shapes out of those individual string notes, and then just kind of going, oh, I know where I am. You know, so, and I developed that really well. The fact is, I know where I am at any given moment, and to the point now where I literally don't have to think. If I know what key the song's in, I don't have to think about where I am. I just know. It's just second nature now. So, so once I went to London, I started to understand there were pentatonic scales and this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other. As I got more heavily into theory in London, the more I found it, I didn't enjoy it. At all, actually, for that matter. I really did not enjoy sitting there with a metronome going, you know, or doing whatever other exercises we were explained to do. But the tutors in London were amazing because they said this to us. The first day we got there is, anything you don't want to learn, anything that sticks out as like you don't want to learn it, don't bother with it. Just forget it. And that stayed with me as really kind of important, because I reckon that, and I still carry that to today, is if you don't want to learn something, if you don't want to learn, if you just like, it's not interesting to me, don't learn it. You know, nothing good can come from forcing yourself into a situation like that, because you're not going to learn it anyway if you do that, and then it just becomes wasted knowledge. You know what I mean? You might as well learn the stuff you're going to use. And that's the way I went, and I started to decide that I don't want to be a theory-based guitar player, which is where I was heading, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the feel of it. It felt wrong to me. My brother pursued it, and my brother's very theory-based. You know, he's very, very, you know, he locks into things on a theoretical level. I didn't want that. I really didn't want that. Again, being a John Vashanti fan and a Jimi Hendrix fan, I wanted to be able to like just flow. So I pulled away, and I learned what I wanted to learn, which technically I already knew. I just understood it, what it was, which is just pentatonics, and I pulled away from everything else. I didn't want to learn anything else. Once I learned what it was I wanted to learn, which is what I know now, which I'll get to. I just pulled away from the rest. I didn't care. I didn't care. There were some scales I remembered, like whole tone scales, which are really good for finger exercises, like this. But I don't use them in a musical way. I use them as basically like warm-ups at gigs. And there was another one. You know, that kind of thing. And also like the crab. That kind of thing. I use them as warm-ups only. I never really felt the need to incorporate them in my own playing. I just remembered them because I thought they're really good for getting your fingers going and your dexterity going. So that was that. So that brings me now to where I am now. And basically, throughout the years of developing these kind of scale shapes and just kind of understanding where I am, it did dawn on me that I am just predominantly a pentatonic guy. I don't really step outside it. And if I do, I don't know what I do, if that makes any sense. So, what I know on the guitar, in any key now, which is kind of cool and I like that, because I've done it for so long, these shapes, I know in any key I can solo. You know, given the key of the song, I can solo in it. So if somebody said B, I would, you know, I can go into B. If somebody said G minor, so if somebody said C major, I would immediately go to A minor, because it's its relative minor, which I'll get to in a bit. Okay, so I am very happy to solo in any key, and I love soloing. It's my number one favourite thing to, well, nearly my number one. It's shared with that Jimi Hendrix. It's shared with that Jimi Hendrix, John Frusciante style of clean guitar, well, cleanish guitar playing. But I love soloing because it really exercises my demons. It really does. I really am able to. I like to think I am. I don't feel I'm anywhere near where I want to be. This is one thing. This is the thing I'm working on. I like to think that I'm quite good at expressing myself through guitar solos. I don't think I'm great at it by any standards. If you look at Jimi Hendrix or John Frusciante or Dave Gilmour or Andy Timmons, Paul Kossoff, Peter Green, Rory Gallagher, you know, all these guitarists were absolute experts at expressing their innermost being through the guitar, and that's where I want to be, and I really want to work. That is when I found out I didn't want to do the theory side, and I just wanted to go the feel route and be able to kind of come up with parts and write songs and express what I feel through the guitar, and kind of like, instead of analysing it from a technical aspect or theoretical aspect, I just pursued that with everything I've got, and that's all I want to be able to do with the guitar. I don't want to be the most technical whiz kid on guitar. I'm not interested in being technically whizzy or fast, if you will, on guitar, or showy offy. You know what I mean? Like, some people have asked me, "Oh, can you sweep pick?" It's like I used to be able to 8-finger tap. I used to be able to 8-finger tap with one hand over the top of the neck and this hand like that, and I used to be able to sweep pick, yeah. But I don't do it anymore, and I can't do it anymore because it's not something that I ever used. I never wanted to use after a certain period of time. So I just pulled away from that, and then it's just gone the way of a dodo. I can kind of slowly, I can kind of sweep pick down, but I like to, it's more of Richie Blackmore kind of sweep, where you're just kind of going down, you never come back up. And I don't really like the sound of sweep picking, to be honest with you. I like certain things, but they don't really appear in my playing. You know what I mean? I use them every now and again, but very rarely. So when I pursued this theory side, the non-theory side of things, because I found that's what I wanted, the guitar just, made a lot more sense to me, because I loved it a lot more from that point on. It was starting to being in London and really kind of going down the theoretical line was starting to kill my enjoyment, and that was not good. And I was like, I'm not having that. So when I went back to just kind of playing how I feel and trying to play how I feel, that was when I was all of a sudden like, this is where I should be. And like I say, from that point on, I submitted myself to guitar and music. I was like, right, just do what you want, because I can feel that power, that presence, so to say, kind of like guiding me. So I just kind of submitted from that point on. It took a few more years to kind of develop to, a point where I could literally turn off totally. Turning my brain off has only happened in the last 5 years of guitar playing. Being able to literally kind of just blank out when I play and not think about what I'm playing or this, that, and the other. You are literally just one with the music and the song. That's all I've ever wanted out of music. I want to be totally submerged and submitted to it. I want it to just do whatever it needs to do, and I'll just kind of go with it. I'll just be its marionette. You know what I mean? I don't feel the need to analyze it. I don't feel the need to understand it. I just want to just kind of go with it. It understands. I don't need to. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. So anyway, so let's get into the whole theory side of things of what I know then. Okay, so I can tell you that I know the 5 positions of a pentatonic scale in every key. And I can do that because, again, it's just repetition of basically doing these scales. So this is E minor, and the thing is, position 1 in the pentatonic scales, in the 5 position pentatonic scales, position 1 is a major. So in E minor, it'd be G major, because that's his relative major, which I'll get to in a minute. But guitarists don't work in majors; we work in minors, especially rock, blues, funk, whatever guitarists. We don't work in that, we work in minor. So I was like, well, I can't do that. So I work from a minor, always. I always work from a minor. So I work from E minor, so E minor pentatonic. So that's position 1 to me. So position 2 would be G major. And then into this next position, which I don't know what it is, but I know what it is. Next position. Next position. And finally back to position 1 again. Position 2. Position 3. And that's about as high as I can get. And basically what I did there is kind of like, that's the 5 position pentatonic scale in E minor. So I know those shapes. So if somebody said A minor, I know that I can just go A minor. It's the exact same shape as the E minor. I'm just moved up. So instead of my root note being open or 12th fret, the E note, I'm on the 5th fret, A. So I can then do the exact same thing. So we've got first position, second, third. You get the idea. So I can use these shapes that I've got in my head that are just kind of like instilled in my head to create solos in any key, as long as I obviously know. And in all fairness, I don't need to be told the key. I can just find it. You know what I mean? If somebody says, "Oh, we'll do this and this and that," I can just find the key. And what I do is basically just like go along the low E string from open string to the 11th fret. It's got to be in there. If it's not in there, I don't know what they're doing. So basically, because that's all the notes we've got. We've only got 11 notes, and we can't use all those 11 notes at one time. We can only really use about 6 or 7, give or take, because this and the other. But so I don't really understand what position 3, 4, and 5 is, but I know position 1 is a minor and position 2 is a major. So then what I did is, because I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing 5 positions of pentatonic scale when I was in London. I was like, what are these extra notes that I know then? And now I found out that's a flat 5. That's the blue note. You know, that was that one, and that's just a flat 5 as well. So I was like, okay, so that's just the blue note. So if you're doing like a, you know, you've got that essence of blues, if you will. And then I was like, okay, so hang on a minute, what about all these other notes I've got? And then I realised that this, at the bottom of a pentatonic scale, if you're in B minor pentatonic scale, I hope this is making sense, by the way. If you're a B minor scale, so you see you got a B minor scale. I was like, well, hang on a minute, that sounds those bottom 3 strings sound familiar. And I was like, hang on a minute, that's just D major. That's position 2. So this is position 1, B minor. This is position 2, D major. So I was like, hang on a minute. Okay, so we've got a major scale in the bottom, and we've got a minor scale on top. So now if I add the flat 5 in, we have this. I was like, oh, okay, so I've got a really mega scale there. And then I was like, hang on a minute, I can add these extra notes in that I know work. Those ones as well. So I was like, hang on a minute then. Okay, so we got this. And I was like, okay, so I've got a bigger scale. And then I found that this note worked. That came off basically, like if you think that's your line of notes, there's always a note, a semitone down from a G string in a minor pentatonic that'll sound gorgeous. It sounds gorgeous. And then I was like, okay, so we've got this. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then I knew other notes as well to these scales, and I don't know what they are. And I do have a what is it? I've got a video called Unlocking the Neck. And basically in that I go into a lot of detail about kind of the shapes, and I have diagrams and all that kind of thing. So if you want to see a bit more about kind of like, you know, my image of the neck, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put that link to that video in the description box below. It's called Unlocking the Neck, and I go into that a lot heavier in that video and talk about it. I've got diagrams to show you and this, that, and the other. And that is the way I play. That was it. That was about as much thought process went into it. I was like, okay, so I've got this mega scale, which I call it the mega scale. You know, and I was like, okay, well I've got that, so I can play around with that all day. You know, I can do that all day. But I was like, I want to play across the neck. I don't want to play in a box, because John Vashanti doesn't play in a box, and Jimi Hendrix doesn't play in a box, really. Well, Jimmy does more than John, actually. John plays more linear across the neck, and Jimmy plays up and down. But I was like, well, I'll be able to go up and down the neck like John does. So, you know, for instance, like in a scar tissue solo, John will kind of go... So he would start in one place and work his way up or work his way down and just play how he felt. Never thinking about where he is. It's just about expression and serving the song and not being over the top with it and just really getting lost in it and understanding what you're trying to say. And that was literally it. That is literally all the theory I know. So that brings... Actually, I want to talk about one more thing, which is relative major and minor. So relative major and minor is, again, really important to figure out the key to solve it in a song. So relative major and minor is very easy to understand because us guitarists work in minor. Rock guitarists, blues guitarists, funk guitarists, we all work in minor. So if somebody says, oh, this song's in C major, you can go, okay, I can solo in that in C major for one. But we don't really do that as a guitarist. We're not... You know, it's okay, but it sounds too happy. Rock guitarists, blues guitarists, we don't do those kind of things, and I don't do those kind of things. And So I was like, okay, so if somebody says it's C major, I need to know what minor shape I can play in, because I want to play in the minor thing. And that was when I learned about relative major and relative minor. So, and this is the way I found out. So if your song's in C major, all I do is count down 3 frets from the root note, C. So 1, 2, 3. So I've got A minor. And I was like, okay, so if a song's in C, I can now play over that in A minor. And I was like, that's the sound I want. I don't like this sound. It's nice, but I don't like it. It doesn't appeal to me much as it. That appeals to me a lot more, so I just went that route. And to find your relative major, you just reverse that formula basically. So if you're C major, you count down 3 frets, 1, 2, 3, to find your relative minor. If your song's in A minor and you want a solo in C major, you just count up 3 frets. And it's really simple. And another way to remember it is think of 1950s ballads. Or Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. You know, it's that interval. It's relative major to relative minor, you know what I mean, or relative minor to relative major. You know, it's that kind of thing. I do apologise, everyone. So once I knew relative major to relative minor and relative minor to relative major, knew the pentatonics, knew the neck, so I could at any moment. So if somebody goes, "I'll C sharp minor." So I can scale the neck in any key now because I've spent so much time learning these shapes in every key. And it all started off with me just going, nope, nope, yes! And literally just doing that all the way up the neck so to find all these notes. And then just... So that's in E minor. If I go to A minor now... Oh, sorry. A minor... G minor, D major, so I can just play all over the neck. And once I learned that, I was like, well, that's all I want to learn. Don't need to know anything else. That was it. That is literally it. I have no desire at this point in time. That could change in years to come, and it probably will, definitely. But at this point in time, I have no desire to learn anything else because I want to be able to use this, what I know, to the best of my ability. So I want to be able to understand myself through what I know already and develop my my way of playing. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to smash John Vashanti with Jimi Hendrix and Peter Green and Rory Gallagher and Paul Kossoff and all. I want to smash these guys together and kind of do a different kind of thing. And I've started to come up with these ideas of kind of like strange little runs, which like... Oh, no, I was right first time. And I don't know where this is going yet. It's ugly and it sounds horrible. It's all over the shop. You know, it's a bit of a mess. It's a bit kind of Robert Frippy, but without the finesse. But this is where I'm being led at this point in time, and it's going somewhere, and I just have to just go with it. You know what I mean? I don't have to think about it. It will reveal itself to me when it needs to. But this whole idea of... kind of thing. It's going somewhere, but I don't know where yet. But anyway, but that is literally it. I know I'm a pentatonic guy as far as I know. I mean, I'm sure somebody could point out something of what I use that isn't pentatonic. I don't know. But this is literally all I know. So I know my 5/6 pentatonic scale in every key. And it's took me years to be able to get there. You know what I mean? I specifically went out to learn songs in every key. So, for instance, like, in G minor, I would learn something like "Got a Good Mind to Give Up Living" by Fleetwood Mac, or or D minor, I would learn "Bad Penny" by Rory Gallagher. E minor, I would learn "Voodoo Child." Let's think of other ones. B minor is Red House. A minor is could be anything. House of Rising Sun, even. There's no soul in that, but you know what I mean. Well, it's a keyboard solo, organ solo, but I wanted to go out there and learn in every key. But the thing is, I had a leg up in the fact I knew these shapes from E minor. I could just basically move them over. So I knew that this shape is just this shape. It's just it's changed key from E to A. So I was like, well, if that shape's that, and the next shape up is this, then I can just do this. If I'm in A minor, I can just do it. And then be aware, and then I can start figuring out, well, I know this works. And I can just like mess around in those keys because I just know them so well. So that is literally all I know. I know the five position pentatonic scale. I know about relative major and minor. I know about harmony as well, third harmonies, major third, minor third, fifth, fourth, and stuff like that. And but I don't know a lot. I don't really know. I'm not ignorant to theory. I just don't want it. I'm just not interested in it right now. You know what I mean? I don't want it there right now. I don't need it there right now because it's not what I'm trying to develop is my theoretical knowledge. What I'm trying to develop is a voice, an ability to express me through the guitar. I'm not interested in trying to, like I said at the beginning, I'm not interested in being whiz kid on guitar and like trying to break the boundaries of the guitar or anything like that. Like some people, like, you look at people like Guthrie Govan or Tosin Abasi or people like that who just like are pushing like that envelope of the guitar and where it can go. I'm not interested in doing that. I don't care about that. I never have cared about I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, basically. Sorry about that. I'm not trying to try and reinvent the wheel with the guitar. I'm not interested in doing that. I just want to be able to express through the guitar. I've learned enough, so I know the pentatonics and I know Vashanti and I know where to go, and I can't be lost on the guitar. I just know where I am. Given any kind of key, I just know, again, just from years of doing it and experience of getting lost and failing. This is why failing is so important. Is like for years and years and years, I would fail at guitar solos and just like get lost and like, I don't know where I am, and just trying to figure out stuff. And through those failures and through just keep perseverance and keeping going, I now can't get lost. You know what I mean? And that's why I can just turn off and just play and don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about kind of like, all I need to focus on is, well, being a marionette, basically. I don't have to focus on anything else. And it's very freeing, and I like it a lot more than from a technical aspect of kind of going, this song's in A minor, so I could use this, this, and this, but I could also use this, but then I could approach it from this axis. And it's just like, I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in doing that. I like simple, mainly because I'm stupid, but I like to be as simple as possible with stuff, and I don't like to confuse things with other things, if that makes any sense. So that is literally all the theory I know. I did used to know more, but I've forgotten it because I don't use it, and if I do use it, it's become second nature, like this pentatonic stuff. So when people say, "Oh, how are you doing this and how are you doing that?" It's like I don't honestly know because I don't think about it anymore. I haven't thought about what I do for years. I just let it be, mistakes and all, warts and all, and ugliness and all. Yeah, just let it be for what it is. Because and another reason why I love improvisation so much as well is it's a point in time. It's not it's not scripted. It's not planned out. It's literally just you flying. You know what I mean? And I like that. And I also like the idea of it's one of the things I really want to do, and it's something I don't feel I'm great at yet, and I want to be good at it, and I don't think I'm quite there yet. But is that ability to kind of, when you play a guitar solo, you take people with you. It's all well and good doing a guitar solo where you kind of you wow people and people are like, oh, it's amazing technically and this, that, and the other, but you don't take them on a journey, and I want to be able to do that. I don't want to be the like I said, I don't want to be a technical whiz kid who just wows everyone with his technical prowess on the guitar or groundbreaking new way of playing. I want to be able to grab you and take you with me, and then drop you back off when it's done. You know what I mean? That, John Vashanti does that to me, and Jimi Hendrix does that for me, and that's what I've always ever wanted. And I don't feel like I'm there. I don't feel like I'm anywhere near that yet, and that's what I'm pushing towards. But that just takes time, and you've just got to be patient with that, and you can't just rush into those kind of things. But that's what I want. I don't want to be theoretical whiz kid. I don't want to be technical whiz kid. I just want to be able to play from an emotional level instead of a theoretical level, and a feel level instead of a theoretical level. I'm not interested in that. And I was, when I first moved to London, it really appealed to me. But as London kind of progressed, I found it didn't work for me. I didn't want that as a player for me. Definitely. But the thing is, I was about to say, it's kind of definitely hindered me in the fact that I can't read music and this and the other. But I can't read music anyway because I'm dyslexic. So reading tab and reading music is kind of impossible for me anyway. So, my hindrance was already, I don't class it as a hindrance, but, the block, if you will, was already there. And there's nothing I can do about that. That's just the way I am. Because I can't read tab very well. I can't write tab. Well, I can. But it'll take you 10 years. It'll take me 10 years to do 8 bars and stuff like that. So that is literally all the theory I know. I know how to go up scales if I'm. I know them, 5 position, but I know better now of playing up and down the neck. So I don't think in terms of boxes anymore. I just kind of B minor. so I can do that, you know, and that's all I want to be able to do is just not think and just play, you know. So somebody will just say B minor, A minor, whatever, C major, doesn't matter. I just, you know, if somebody says that, I can play over it, you know what I mean? And that's what I wanted, to be versatile in that way, to be able to kind of just be able to, somebody says, oh, we're going to do this song in whatever key, and to be able to just do it, you know, solo or whatever, just pick it up really quickly. That's all I wanted. And developing your ear helps with that as well, not relying on music books or tab or anything like that. It's like, you know, developing your ear to actually learn to hear and listen. And because if your ear is developed, I feel you can get lost in music easier, because you can turn off quicker instead of being conscious of it. Because, you know, you don't want to be, when you're playing, you don't really want to be conscious of what you're doing. You know, just, you want to go with it, you know what I mean? You don't really want to be worried about what's going on here, there, or anywhere. You know, you just let it be what it'll be, so to say. You know, and mistakes are fine, you know, and you have to fail so many times before you get it right. You know, I mean, I've failed trillion times at certain guitar solos and certain things, and you know, it's one of those things that it's worth it to fail. It's good to fail, you know, it's good to mess up, it's good to go wrong, it's good to get this wrong and that wrong, and totally make a fool of yourself, because you learn better that way. If you never failed, you would never learn. So you've got to fail, and it's good to. And yeah, so that's it. And like I said, I over the years I've developed these ideas of chords kind of coming out of scales. So this chord here, you know, that just comes out of, that's a C sharp minor scale. Let me turn that the way off. So they're just kind of coming out of the notes of the scale. So, and then also stuff like that comes from a John Vashanti guitar solo. You know, that kind of thing. And then you get things like Jimi Hendrix, where those kind of things, and John Frusciante-esque kind of thing. You know, stuff like that. Anyway, is there anything else to say? No. So I'm not that clued in with music theory. I'm just not. I don't really want to be, and I'm not really interested in it, to be honest with you. And I just want to be able to play and not think. I just don't want to have to think when I play. I want to be totally unconscious to what I do. And there are times, gigs where, you know, they're the best things in the world, is where if you're gigging and you're playing, you forget where you are. It's wicked. It's absolutely wicked. If you're like messing around, well, if you're just playing like a song and you get, all of a sudden the world vanishes and you just get kind of lost in this, you just get lost in the music. And you just forget where you are, and then all of a sudden the song ends, and you're like, oh, there's people. It's great fun. Recommend it. Terrifying the first couple of times it happens. I can remember the first time I was playing a gig at Cobble's Bar in town. I can remember the first time this happened, we were playing Black by Pearl Jam, and I did this extended guitar solo at the end of it, and I totally forgot I was playing a gig. And the song ended, and there was people right in front of me, and it was terrifying. And I was like, oh, I'd forgotten I was here. And it happens loads. And the thing at that point is, like, just basically don't be afraid of it. It's all good. Because it can be weird and scary the first couple of times that happens, because you're like, holy hell, where did I just go? But it's a good place. Where you went is where you want to be. So, and that is literally just the whole thing of submitting to music. You know, it knows better. It knows what it wants to do with you. You don't have to worry about it. So just let it, basically. So yeah, be that for what it may. So there you go. I know quite a lot of people have asked, like, you know, can you do a series on how I play? It's like, no, I can't. I don't know. I know that's the theory side behind my playing. It's pentatonic. And I know how to kind of like create these kind of like mega scales. I don't know other than that. I know up and down the neck. I know those kind of things. I know where and what I need to be doing in what places here and there. But other than that, I have no idea what I do. And that's the way I want it to stay. Because I don't want to have to sit down and analyse what I do. And I've tried to do that before and I hate it. It feels wrong. And I'm not one for trying to force myself into... If it feels wrong, it invariably is. So that feels wrong to me, so I'm not going to pursue that. Because I don't want to, and I don't feel I should be, and it feels wrong to me. So I can't do those kind of things, I'm afraid. But hopefully this might give you a little bit more of a window in it. But I like playing across the neck. I don't mind playing in a pentatonic box, but I like to be able to move because I think it creates more melodic phrases. If you're kind of just like D minor pentatonic. It's really cool. It sounds great, but I like this more. That to me sounds more musical than this. Nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, I still love doing that, but for my ear, I like to be able to move around the place, and I like when chords. I like certain chord changes that really kind of like embellish those kind of things. So again, going back to that D minor kind of thing, if we have a progression of D minor, C major, and B flat major, you can really hear. You can get so melodic with it. That's so appealing to me. That kind of playing, and it all comes from John Vashanti mainly. John is that kind of. That's where I get all that stuff from. It's from him. He's my biggest influence and hero because of there's so much I've taken from him to incorporate in my own style. And that's what I wanted. I just want to be able to, like him. I just want to be like him. I want to be able to play like that. You watch gigs like the Slane Castle gig and you see him soloing and flying up and down the neck, and it's just like pure like unconscious thought and pure emotion coming out of him. And it's just like, when I get to that level, which is many, many moons off, at least in my opinion, when I get to that level, I'll be, that'll be awesome. Because it's so natural to him. I love the way he flows with his solos, and I love what he does, and there's so much awesomeness and melodic content in and so much emotion in his playing, and love it, absolutely love it. Anyway, so yeah, there we go. Let's not get into gushing about John Frusciante. So yeah, so that's it. So that is literally all the theory I know. I don't know a great deal, but I know enough for me to be happy, and that's all that matters to me, really. I've never really pursued the theory side heavily, and when I did, I didn't enjoy it, so I've never really gone back to it. I don't really care for it. So when somebody says, "Oh, can you explain that?" It's like, it's this. Yeah, it's you know, it's like I remember there was an interview with Devin Townsend where he said he finds it really hard to communicate his ideas to the band, and when they were doing the Devin Townsend project, he said like, you know, his drummer was having a difficulty finding where to accent the snare, and he was like to Devin, he's like, is it on the downbeat or the upbeat, or is it on the 1 or the 4 or the 5 or whatever? And Devin was like, it's on the bit that's round, you know. And I like that. The fact is, like, that's how he communicates his ideas of, like, you know, in shapes or whatever. You know, Jimmy used to communicate ideas in colours. You know, you listen to Boulder's Love. You know, it's all about colours. You know, it's really cool. John Gravy knows exactly where his brain goes, but it's all about how you see things and stuff like that. But you know, like I say, anyway, I think I've talked enough, and I think I've spoke everything about I can think of speaking about. So that's literally all I know. It's not a great deal, but it's enough for me, and I'm happy, and that's all that matters. And I'm content, which all matters. What I want to work on more is not my theoretical knowledge or necessarily even my technique on the guitar now, because my technique, I'm happy with that. You know, I can play and do what I want, given the emotion I want to purvey, if that makes sense. If that's the right word, it's probably not the right word. But anyway, the emotion I want to get across, my technique allows me to do it, basically. So I've got no interest in kind of like, you know, bettering it by being able to play faster or be able to sweep pick or any of these kind of things. I'm not interested in that. What I am interested in is being able to boost that ability to feel and submit to music more, and let that take me away, and in process hopefully take you away when you listen, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's where I'm at, and I've been that way since 2007. So, and it hasn't changed yet, and it probably will in the future. But if it doesn't, then you know it doesn't matter. I'm content. I'm happy. You know what I mean? I can almost play how I feel. Like I'm not there yet. I don't feel like I'm kind of close-ish, but not close. If that makes any sense. Yeah, close but far away. But that's what I want to be able to do on the guitar. Like I said, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm not interested in that kind of thing of being able to play every style. I'm not interested in kind of like, you know, how far can I push the guitar into new territory? I don't care about that. There's plenty of people doing that. I don't need to pursue that. And I don't want to. It's just not interesting to me at all. I'm not interested in kind of going, how can I expand, you know, how can I make this wheel better? How can I make this wheel rounder? You know, to me it already is, you know, it's fine. My wheel is already fine, if that makes any sense. Anyway, do you know anything else I need to say about that? No. I hope this video has made some kind of sense, and I hope kind of like some of the theory ramblings I've spoke about make sense, and you know, the whole relative major and minor thing and the pentatonic scale, 5-position pentatonic scale and stuff like that makes sense. And also playing up and down the neck, I hope that kind of made sense, and that kind of explanation. Hopefully some of the sounds that I've done will pursue that as well. So yeah, anything else to say? No, I'm pretty sure that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I hope it's been kind of, you know, somewhat informative. Always terrified these videos are about as interesting as a box of wet socks. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon for another one. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. Goodbye now.